Good morning. Good morning. All right. This is Monday Morning Pep. This is where we get to reset, reflect on our past week, go over our weekly goals, and get the proper mindset that we need to accomplish our tasks at hand. This is here where we are our own bosses. We take charge, we make no excuses, we make the necessary adjustments, we press reset and we keep going. So good morning, Tanya. Thank you for joining us here at Boss Moves Pep.
Good morning.
Morning. Awesome. When I was thinking about like Sunday, I was at the park and I was able to, I'm really starting to appreciate to keeping a notebook or something with me to journal. And I started writing down, reflecting on preparing for my week because a lot of things we've been going over, you know, um, when we went over like the certain quadrants you have to be in, and I want to make sure I'm in Q2, and helping me to stay focused too, right?
Mhm.
So I came across again Brian Tracy, and I really do enjoy Brian Tracy and some things that he was saying. So I came across the 4 habits of successful people, and he had a few habits, but the one habit that's it's so funny how I'm going to do this. I'm going to pretty much jump to the fourth one. I know that sounds kind of weird, but the fourth one really stood out to me, and it was self discipline.
Mhm.
And he was saying how there's two pains that we experience in life. One is the pain of self discipline, where it can be uncomfortable. And he was saying that what self discipline is the ability to make yourself do something when you don't
Mhm.
feel like doing it. And I'm like, okay, that's true. Like, I got up this morning. Part of what the first thing I have to do, I have 3 things that I can do to get my exercise in. And that's either
I'll mute mine.
good. So one of again with the self discipline, right? So one of the things that I wrote down, like in the morning, what I'm gonna do for myself is either I'm gonna walk, bike, or I'm gonna go to the gym. And so I did that, yesterday I was able writing down the things that what I need to accomplish. So I was able to wake up very early, and I was able to at least get the walking in this morning. Went to the park, so I really appreciate that. But even with that, it's like, what's the self discipline in getting up, right? Even though sometimes you just want to roll back over, you want to do that. So I'm glad I got started. But then he said there's 2 pains that we experience in life. The one of the pain of self-discipline, like doing things when you don't want to do it but you still do it, and then the pain of regret. And he said both pains, he says the pain of self-discipline only weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. And I'm like,
Mhm.
wow, that was heavy because um you know if self-discipline really predicts where we are, like it says we are the sum of our choices. Has a lot to do with our thinking, how we think, and the choices we make. But where we are today has a lot to do with that, and self-discipline comes into play with that. So I really appreciate that, because there's certain things in business that you have to do. If you don't do it, then you're going to regret not doing it. It can have a disastrous effect. But there's things that you have to do even though you don't want to do it. Like I feel like being really lazy today. I really do. But I do know if I don't jump on top of my Monday and get these tasks done, I'm going to regret that. That means I won't be able to have a successful week. So that's something that I really took away from that. I went straight to the fourth one. Like I really locked into that, even though they all were good. Like writing down your goals if they already have accomplished. But that one stood out to me. How about you, Tanya? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's where I got to this point I'm at now because I had wrote down the goal to start a business. I got everything in the makings, but I actually didn't get the actual business started. So that writing down of goals, it does work. I do know that. but to do it daily, or to do it like, like you said, carry your notebook or pen with you. And when the kind of an idea comes, it's like write it down. And I know, to continue, that's what I should have did. And I didn't continue doing what I was doing, because I surely have a notebook where I put down my goals and the things I wanted to accomplish. And I got halfway to it with the help of you ladies, and I kind of stopped. And I did stop.
And I think,
Hello.
yeah, and I think no, I appreciate your honesty there. And I think that's the whole point. I think with myself, I've never been one to like write stuff down, but for me, what I'm starting to appreciate is that when you write, for me, when I write stuff down, it helped me stay focused. Like when I have
Mm-hmm.
it keeps me on track. And I'm really starting, I can see the difference in me doing that. Some people naturally like to write stuff down. Some people live by that calendar. Business force you to do that. But if you want to stay on track or get back on track, the best thing to do is to write stuff down. I mean, that's what I'm finding. So I'm like, wait, let me check that, because I need some type of comparison. And it's also a way for me to be accountable of what I want to do. So I write it down. And for some
Mm-hmm.
reason, it goes from just being up here in the head to a plan. That's the one of those starts. So what you're doing is you're making the adjustment. You see, being a boss is acknowledging, right? You taking ownership for what you need to do. You're not, you say, hey, I just fell off a little bit. I just got distracted. That happens consistently throughout our life, but life is about a sum of making adjustment. I remember my mom, I miss her so much, but she always said it's not your first thoughts that you're going to be judged on, it's your adjusted thought, right? Because sometimes life happens,
Mm-hmm.
all types of stuff. We might react a certain way, but what do we do with it? Or do we make the necessary adjustments? So so that you're doing good with that, Tanya. Anything else that maybe you stood out with the Brian Tracy there?
Oh yeah, I was looking the part when he was talking about yeah, like you said, yeah, exercise, doing, keeping yourself healthy, eating healthy, maintaining a healthy, regimen.
Mhm.
That's definitely on one of my lists. I was doing it, but you know how you say, I fell off the bandwagon.
Mhm.
Got to get back on. So that was two of the other things I picked. Having a daily regimen of keeping healthy, eating healthy, and exercising as well. And that definitely fell off my chart too.
Mhm. Right. Well, the good
Yeah.
thing is that you can get back on, right? And I think that it's a lifetime commitment, but
Hmm.
when we do that, well, I think the most important thing is acknowledgement. We got to acknowledge it. Because if we don't acknowledge it, we won't make the necessary steps that we have to do to be consistent. So the thing is, we just want to make sure, we're consistent um, with what we do, and focus on that.
Hmm.
One thing that stood out, it says we become what we think about, because I took notes, right? We become what we think about. It says if
Hmm.
your thinking is chaotic or circular and disorderly, and then your life will be like that,
Hmm. I
right?
agree.
So, and I was thinking, I started reflecting on that, and I'm like, what I think makes our lives circular or chaotic, or our thoughts, I think is when we think maybe too much in the past, or when we don't know how to let go of so-called perceived failures. And that can have an effect on us, right?
Yes. Hmm.
And then he made a point regarding Thomas Edison. They said Thomas Edison was constantly being attacked because he wanted, because at some time the way people lit their house was through kerosene, and he would keep trying and trying. He was determined to make sure your house can be lit by electricity. And someone said, why don't you just accept that we were meant to keep our homes illuminated by kerosene? Says you fell 5,000 times. And you know what he said? He says, I didn't fail 5,000 times. I just figured out 5,000 ways that it just don't work.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was interesting. So it's really what we, tell ourselves. Okay, you say, okay, I tried it this time. You learn from it, and then you move on, right? And I think that's a part of keeping the chaos out of your life is not beating yourself up with a perception of what you think is success. Get,
Right.
so getting started is a success. Making adjustments is a certain type of success. I'm sorry, what you going to say, Tanya?
I was making noise in the background. Sorry about that. No, I was listening. I didn't want to make too much noise while you were talking.
Oh, I thought you were saying something. So I think the thing is we have to shake the dust off, our shoulders like quickly and really challenge that thinking and stay focused. And again, going back to writing stuff down. Okay, what did I do? Like a self-analyzation. Okay, I got a little, this and that. I got a little sidetrack. Life happened. Blah blah blah. Let me get back. How do I get back on track? Focus, and then keep going because it is a life of making those adjustments and clarity. And clarity is eliminating unnecessary things. I think another point it brought out is learning how to prioritize. That's another habit. What is the most important at this time? So setting our priorities is a big way of guiding our life. And then we gotta be very jealous about it. When you set your goals or when you set off for the path, you gotta be so focused. Like when they, I'm thinking about how horses, when they put those blinders on the horses, the race horses, because they don't want them, their peripheral, they don't want them to get distracted, to get them off course. When you set something out, you pretty much have to be like that. Now, it may not make you very popular. You might have to turn and say no to people or, things that's going on. But if it's not in conjunction, if it's not in harmony with your goal, then you may have to put those blinders on and accomplish that. So you may have to make some. We at times we have to make some tough decisions of saying no. So
Yes.
go ahead. You just gotta say.
No, I said yes, I agree. Yeah, so I mean, don't think that I'm not thinking about all the spin on my brain. I'm just trying to figure out ways to tackle it and not, how you say, be I want to get to it, but I'm trying to do it in a way where, and like you said, it's going to be failure because like you said, you try again. But I want to do it at a point where I'm kind of got all my ducks in a row, which I know that doesn't happen in reality. Things do fall down and things, you got to recover from it. But my brain is just on fire right now, thinking about a whole lot of stuff, and I got to get the negative energy away from what I'm trying to do.
Very
If my
good.
daughter, she was trying to encourage me. She's been doing, all of you. I've been trying to, and I can see it. And I'm feeling bad because I'm not pushing myself like I know I should. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I have to get back to like I said with the goal writing, because that's what really started me, putting my stuff in paper so I can see it. And I do see all that stuff that I wrote down. It Part of it came to fruition. It really it came into focus, and I was like, oh wow. So now I know I need to get back to the writing, to looking at really what I want to do and stop focusing on the negative. Like you said, you become what you think, and that really that stops you from pushing forward. I know it stopped me. It stopped me from pushing forward. I ain't talking about anyone but myself, but it does. That's absolutely true.
Hmm. Well, good. So
Yeah.
you acknowledge it, and that's good. And you taking ownership. You're not sugarcoating it, right? We can't. So we
No.
have to have a balance. Sorry, my mic. I wanted to see my mic, but I think my camera's hiding my microphone. But you want to, we don't want to sugarcoat stuff, but it's like a balance. Like, okay, that's what being a boss is. You take acknowledge it. The buck stops here. You don't pass it on to anyone else, and you do that. Okay, how do I adjust it? Life is full of adjustments. So good. And you do that. And now you move on, right? We get to press
Hmm.
Monday. Each day we wake up, it's a blessing. That's why we show gratitude because we get to press reset. We get to reset and keep and move on. That rearview mirror is there as a guidance, but it is not our windshield. I mean, yeah, it's not the front, the window, when you're driving. I said windshield, right?
Mhm.
It's not that front glass, so we can start to, go down the path that we need to go down. And we use what we did yesterday and the week before as a guidance, but it doesn't have to dictate our next day. So good. All right. So again, we have two pains, the pains of self-discipline and the pain of regret. And part of that self-discipline is making those adjustments that we need and setting the priorities. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is what happened when you work at home. You get to hear all types of sounds and everything. So anyway, with that, we are at Monday Pep, and we're gonna stop it here because there's things we have to do
Oh,
and get
what
our day
happened?
started. I know you on your way, Tanya, to take care of some of your goals. So
Yes.
thank you for joining. This is where we get to press reset and start our goals and start a new. We have a new week to press reset.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Tanya, for joining us. Thank you, Kimmy. All right.
You're welcome. Okay. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.